April 1st, 2026. The target is Drift Protocol, the biggest trading platform on Solana. The score, $285 million. And the time it took to pull it off, just 12 minutes. But here's the craziest part. No code was broken. No bug was exploited. This platform had passed 2 separate security audits with flying colors. The attacker didn't hack a thing. They tricked the security team into just handing over the keys. This is the story of the Drift Heist. It's an attack built not on some technical genius, but on 3 weeks of meticulous, patient deception that all started with about $20,000 and a completely fake token. It all begins 3 weeks earlier, and the attacker doesn't just rush in. No, they patiently lay a series of brilliant, interconnected traps. Okay, so March 11th. About 20 grand worth of Ether is pulled from Tornado Cash. That's a service that helps anonymize crypto transactions. This is the seed money. The very next day, 9 a.m. Pyongyang time, the attacker creates a brand new, totally worthless token called Carbon Vote Token, or CVT. Then, for 2 solid weeks, they do something that looks, well, kind of strange. They just trade this token back and forth between their own wallets. So why would they do this? Simple. They're building a fake history. They're making this worthless token look like a real, legitimate asset with steady trading volume and a stable price. And this is where the genius of the plan really starts to show. Drift's automated systems, its price oracles, they see this 2-week history and get fooled into thinking CVT is not only legit, but valuable. You know, it's actually a pretty simple concept when you break it down. Think of it like creating a fake painting, a forgery. You sell it to yourself at one gallery, buy it back at another, you do this a few times, and all of a sudden your forgery has a verified sales history. Then you walk into a bank, show them the records, and get a huge loan against it. The records look real, but the painting is worthless. That is exactly what happened here. A token that cost $500 to make was now seen by the system as millions of dollars in collateral. But the fake token was only half the plan. The other half involved turning a totally legitimate feature of the Solana blockchain into a weapon. It's called a durable nonce. See, normally, a transaction on Solana expires in like 90 seconds, but a durable nonce lets you sign a transaction today and execute it whenever you want in the future. It's a useful tool that the attacker basically turned into a ticking time bomb. So between March 23rd and the 30th, the attacker goes to members of Drift's 5-person security council and gets them to pre-sign a bunch of transactions. They're disguised as just routine maintenance, but hidden inside those signatures were authorizations for critical admin actions. The council thought they were just signing off on paperwork. In reality, they were signing blank checks. And then, March 27th, the final piece of the puzzle just falls into place. During a system migration, Drift turns off its 24-hour time lock. A time lock is basically like a bank vault that takes a full day to open after you put in the code. It gives you time to stop a robbery. But now, Drift's vault, it opens instantly. The attacker had the pre-signed keys, and now the security delay was gone. And now, it's April 1st, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, April Fool's Day. The attacker makes their move. They submit those pre-signed transactions, and in an instant, they have full admin control. They push through a fraudulent withdrawal function, and the vaults, they just start to drain. $155 million in JLP tokens, those are assets representing a user's share in a liquidity pool, gone. $60 million in USDC, a stable coin pegged right to the US dollar, gone. $11 million in wrapped Bitcoin, $5.6 million in Tether, $4.7 million in wrapped ETH, and the list just goes on and on. Every single token from every single vault drained completely. And you can just see the devastation here. The protocol's total value locked plummets from $550 million to under $250 million in 12 minutes. The Drift token itself crashes 40%, and a dozen other protocols that were exposed to Drift are forced to pause their operations. As all this chaos is spreading, the Drift team posts on what used to be Twitter, "This is not an April Fool's joke." But by then, the money was long, long gone. $285 million vanished in the time it takes to drink a cup of coffee. The attacker doesn't stick around. The getaway is just as meticulously planned as the heist. And this is where the story takes a truly shocking turn. Within minutes, they swap all the stolen tokens into USDC and start bridging over $230 million from Solana to Ethereum. It's then converted into 129,000 ETH and scattered across multiple wallets and blockchains, making it almost impossible to trace. And then the blockchain forensics firms, people like Elliptic and Chiram Labs, they start connecting the dots. The timing of the attack, 9 a.m. Pyongyang time, the use of Tornado Cash, the specific money laundering patterns, they all point to one group. The prime suspect? North Korea. And look, this isn't just some random group of hackers. We're talking about a state-sponsored entity that's estimated to have stolen over $6.5 billion from crypto projects. And according to the US government, this money directly funds North Korea's nuclear weapons program. Let that sink in. The money stolen from Drift may now be funding nuclear missiles. So what do you take away from all this? What's the critical lesson from a heist that no audit could have ever predicted, and no line of code could have stopped? Well, first, the code was fine. The smart contracts worked perfectly. This attack targeted people. It was social engineering, plain and simple. Second, a legitimate feature meant for convenience was turned into a weapon. And third, the entire security model was fooled. A fake token made for pocket change was accepted as real collateral. These weren't software failures, they were failures of human trust and process. And this matters to every single person in crypto, because Drift wasn't some small, shady project. It was one of the biggest protocols on Solana, and it was gutted by an attack that relied entirely on exploiting human trust in a supposedly trustless system. So it really makes you wonder, right? Does a story like this change how you think about security? The Drift heist remains the biggest DeFi hack of 2026. And it's a stark reminder that you can have the most secure vault in the world, but it doesn't mean anything if someone can just trick you into handing over the keys. The code was perfect, the humans weren't.